Hello everyone. Now we are going to start our new topic, coordinate geometry. In this series of videos, we will be discussing about coordinate geometry. The first thing that we are going to discuss under coordinate geometry is gradient or slope of a line. This is the point where we start discussing about coordinate geometry. But before we start doing this topic, first thing that I would like you to recall are these. You must have been taught about these things earlier. This is what you have already learned. If you are unaware of these things, I am going to recall these concepts very briefly once so that we all are on the same place. And if any one of you has missed out these lessons, kindly do let me know, then I'll discuss these concepts in detail as well, because these are some of the basic terminologies that you must be aware with before we start discussing coordinate geometry in detail. Okay. So for a very brief count, I am discussing these things. First things, rectangular or Cartesian plane. What is a rectangular or Cartesian plane? This is what a rectangular or a Cartesian plane looks like. Okay. Definition of rectangular or Cartesian plane is, it's a plane formed by two numbered lines, a horizontal number line and a vertical number line intersecting each other perpendicularly. Okay. You can see this is the horizontal axis, this axis is called x-axis. This is the vertical axis or the vertical number line called y-axis. They both are intersecting each other at an angle of 90 degree and then they are forming a plane. Okay. This plane is called rectangular or Cartesian plane. Okay. So if you are writing, if you want to note it down, you can just note it down. Cartesian or rectangular plane is a plane formed by the intersection of two number lines intersecting each other at an angle of 90 degree. The point at which these two number lines intersect, this is the point where these two number lines are intersecting. This point is called origin. So next thing that you must know is what is an origin. Origin is the point of intersection of the vertical axis and the horizontal axis. Of the horizontal axis and the vertical axis. Okay. Horizontal axis is called x-axis. Vertical axis is called y-axis. Together they are called coordinate axis. So these are the three things that you must know before I start discussing gradient and go further into the detail of coordinate geometry. So rectangular or Cartesian plane, first thing, origin, and then the coordinate axis. You must be aware of these things. If you aren't, in case, do let me know. I'll discuss these things in detail in upcoming videos, inshallah. Anyways, so gradient or slope of a line. Gradient or slope of a line is basically the ratio between the vertical change that appears in a line to the horizontal change. This can be observed if the line is given. This can be observed if you have points of the line there. You only have to see how much vertical change is there in a line as compared to the horizontal change. The ratio between the vertical change of the line to the horizontal change between any 2 points is called the gradient. So this is a line that I have drawn already on the Cartesian plane. The one which is going up from left to right. This is left, and when it is going to right, you can see it is going up. So this is called an increasing line. This line is called a decreasing line. First of all, you must be aware of what an increasing line looks like and what a decreasing line looks like. It's always from left to right. What is happening with the line when we move from left to right? When I move from left to right, I can see the line is actually going up. This is left, and when I am moving to the right, it's going up. This is an increasing line. This is left, and when I am going to the right, it's going down. This is called a decreasing line. For an increasing line, the slope is always positive. For a decreasing line, the slope is always negative. Okay, vertical change to the horizontal change. For instance, if I am talking about this line, this one, right? This one, okay? Okay, so if you observe the vertical change of the line between any 2 points, let's say this is 1 point, okay? And which one? Let's take this one. This is the other point, okay? So if you look at these 2 points, okay, from this point I'll draw a line like this, and from this point I'll draw a line like this. I hope these two lines are visible. Okay. So I've taken any two random points of my choice, okay, and I am going to see how much vertical and horizontal change is there between these 2 points. This is the first one that I considered, this is the second one that I have considered, and I only want to see how much vertical change is there. This is the vertical change in the line, and this is the horizontal change in the line. Okay. How many units have been there? This is 1 unit. This much is 1 unit. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. How much vertical change is there? The vertical change there is 4 units. And how much horizontal change is there? This is the point, okay? 1 and 2. Horizontal change is how much? 2. This is the horizontal change. Okay? So the vertical change of the line is 4 and the horizontal change of the line is 2. So for this particular line, the slope, gradient or slope is the same thing. The variable that we used for mentioning the gradient is small m. Okay? So how much was the vertical change? 4. How much is the horizontal change? 2. This is going to be 2. Okay? No matter which 2 points you consider. If you want to consider this one, okay, the slope has to be same. If I am considering this point, so I'll draw a line like this, and this is the other point that I am considering now. So these are the 2 points that I am talking about. How much is the vertical change? The vertical change is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. How much is the horizontal change? 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so if I use those values, this will be 6 over 3 and the slope is going to be same. It doesn't matter which 2 points you consider, the slope is going to be same. And you can clearly see this line is going upward from left to right, so the slope has to be positive. Okay, one more thing. When we talk about vertical change and the horizontal change, vertical change is usually called rise and the horizontal change is usually called run. So the slope can also be termed as a quotient, like slope or gradient is a quotient of rise and run. You can say one more thing. Rise is positive when it is going upward. Rise is negative when the line is going downward. This might sound a little awkward to you, but this is how it is. Okay? If it's rising downward from left to right, is going downward, then rise is in that case negative. That is why the slope becomes negative. Okay? Anyway, so in this case, I can see the line is going upward. I really hope that my two things, increasing line and decreasing line, are clear. Increasing lines, rise is positive, run is also positive. Decreasing line, rise is negative, run can be positive. Any one of them has to be negative, but you just keep one thing in your mind, rise is negative. Okay, so in this case, rise and run both were positive. There is one more line, this one. First of all, you need to decide whether it's a decreasing line or an increasing line. It is a decreasing line. Okay, so I would like to consider 2 points and 2 points of my choice here. For instance, I am considering this as the first point, this as the second point for this line now. Okay, so now you have to see how much is this value, this vertical value, and this value. These two have to intersect. Okay, so how much is the rise? 1, 2 and 3. The rise is 3. Is this a positive 3 or a negative 3? It's going downward, so it's negative. Okay, and run is only 1. Okay, so In this case, what is the slope going to be? The slope in this case is going to be minus 3 over 1. So for that case, slope is going to be minus 3 over 1 and the slope is going to be minus 3. Okay? So we can now conclude to this thing that gradient is the ratio between the vertical change to the horizontal change of a line between any 2 points. The ratio can also be termed as rise over run. Slope is positive when I have an increasing line and slope is negative when I have a decreasing line. In an increasing line, the rise is positive. In a decreasing line, the rise is negative. In the next video, I'll be using the same grid and I'll be teaching you how to find the slope or gradient of a line when two of its coordinates are there or given. Okay? So I'll link this to this, but this is right now just a very brief introduction to gradient. Gradient, when is it positive, when is it negative, what is an increasing line, what is a decreasing line, what is rise, what is run, when is rise negative, when is rise positive, and all those things. Okay, so I really hope that the basic concept of gradient will now be clear. In the next videos, we will be discussing questions using this formula. I'll discuss this formula first and then I'll be discussing how to use this formula and how to solve problems related to gradient with the help of this formula. Thank you so much. I do hope this will be a very helpful video for all of you to understand the concept of gradient, especially this formula. Most of the people find it difficult. I hope everything up till now is clear. If there is anything, do let me know in comments. I'll try to respond to those comments as